Hi, and welcome back to Purple Color Life. It is the day after Christmas. We had a great Christmas yesterday. We've got more Christmas to celebrate coming up, and we did some even before Christmas, but it's just a great time of the year. Still having that unusual weather outside with the nice warm temperatures. It was 55 yesterday, Christmas Day. In today's video, answering a question I get quite a bit about moisture content and firewood. What is the right percentage? We're going to show you how I test the firewood, what moisture content I recommend and why, talk a little bit about our stove, and show you a new way to test for moisture content in wood. Something I've never tried before. So we're back here by some of the wood piles. We've got this freshly split oak. We've got some cherry that's been back here for seasoning over a year. And we've got some freshly split small oak in the back of the Ranger. Now we've done moisture meter tests before, and I've explained to you the difference between these moisture meters. This is the original moisture meter I ever owned. This is the general one. Works fine, nothing wrong with it. I'll put a link to those videos up above where we talked about these moisture meters and moisture content before. But like I said in previous videos, this is my favorite one just because look how nice and big that display is. It's easy to see. Backlit. This is just my favorite because of visibility. We did talk in previous moisture content tests about these pinless moisture meters. See, this is another one with a nice big display. It doesn't actually stick down into the wood. It just reads the moisture content using the surface. And like we said in previous videos, that's not a reliable system. You can't count on that to tell you the actual moisture content. You need those pins going into the wood. There is a place for this type of moisture meter, but testing firewood is not that place. We even have a high-end one, Klein Tools, pinless moisture meter. Change it to hardwood here. And see, this one's not as easy to see, but let's see here if we can get a view of it. It's saying 5% on that cherry that's been seasoned for a couple years. Don't forget to stick around to the end of this video where we're going to show you a new way to test for moisture content in firewood. I've never done it before. I saw it online and I thought it's a pretty fun way. Probably not realistic, but we're going to give it a try today. Okay, so like I said, this firewood is different types of firewood, different amount of seasoning. And I'll start off here by saying the amount that I am looking for is 15%. For me, 15% moisture content is the sweet spot for firewood. Obviously less than that is great. Can you get too dry? Some people will say yes. I say I'm not worried about it being too dry. I've seen firewood moisture content in the single digits and that doesn't worry me. I don't feel like it's too dry, but 15% or less is what I'm looking for. Now when there were times that I was hard up for firewood, it hadn't seasoned quite as long as I would like, I could go as high as 20%. So 20% is acceptable. But like I said, sweet spot for me, 15%. Let's give these a test. We'll use the old general tester first. You can see from so much use, the general tester actually, if it'll focus there, has some bends on the needles. But it still will stick in the wood. So we'll try the cherry here first. There you go. 12.5, under our 15% limit. Oak's the hardest to get the probes to stick into. That's probably how I got them bent. 10.3. So those are good to go. This is that oak that I recently split. It's small. This wood was cut down about a year ago, but I just split it. You can hear that high alarm, 21.9. So yes, this needs to be seasoned for a while before we burn it. Like I said, I'll put Amazon affiliate links to these down below, but this is the one I use most of the time. On that cherry, 11 point something. On the oak, I have to get it deep enough to read. There it's saying like 7 point something. saying mid at 13.8. Let's just try a different spot here. 15.1, 14.9. Now I know this has only been seasoning for, it's been cut down for about a year, but it's only been seasoning for a couple months here. So we're gonna let this go a little bit longer, even though it does say 15. Let's test another piece here. Some of you have asked what settings I use. I set the mode to hardwood, which you can see right up here. You can change through those modes by hitting the mode button. But for our oak, cherry, hickory, maple, firewood that we have here at Purple Collar Life, hardwood is the correct setting. Okay, so if you're wondering why 15%, why do I say that's a sweet spot for me? Now, everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different. Our situation is we burn firewood for heat in a wood burner in the basement of the house. And this is not a standard wood burner. This is a wood burner with catalytic combustion. And what that means is that there is a section of honeycomb up in the outlet of the exhaust of that wood burner. And once that honeycomb reaches a certain temperature, in our case it's about 600 degrees, once it's above 600 degrees, that catalytic combustion process begins, where it's burning additional particulates in the smoke and in the air of the firebox, which gives us not only extended burn but higher efficiency. So that 15% moisture content for me means that I'm putting less moisture up through that catalytic combustion honeycomb, which could clog it or slow down the process. As we know, moisture has a cooling factor to it. The more moisture that's in firewood, the cooler it's going to burn up front, and the more particulate it creates, the more potential for the creosote to build up in your chimney. Also means more creosote that could clog that honeycomb in the catalytic combustion chamber. So obviously if I had an outside wood boiler, that 15% wouldn't be as key to me. Maybe the 20% wouldn't even be as key to me. But with that honeycomb system where all the exhaust and smoke is going up through that, I don't want that higher moisture level to slow down me getting to 600 degrees and higher, and to potentially clog that honeycomb that's causing the catalytic combustion that makes our firewood burn more efficiently. Now, I burn way less firewood than other people, friends of mine who have wood burners in their basement, for the same region of our area, the same temperatures outside, because of that catalytic combustion chamber. It is a very efficient system. It burns that wood, it burns the particulates in the smoke, it kind of re-burns. It's like recycling that heat to make more heat for in our room. Now that 600 degrees is the baseline for when the catalytic combustion starts. It actually goes up as high as like 14 or 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. So very hot. That smoke is still burning and re-burning above the firewood. I've put some video clips before about our Buck Model 91 stove and that catalytic combustion in action. What you actually see is flames on the wood, and then a gap space of air, and then flames that start in the smoke or in the burn off of that wood up above. So flames, a gap space, and then more flames in that secondary burning because of the catalytic combustion. Okay, so remember, I will put Amazon links to these down in the description. If you're interested in ordering a moisture minder, we'd appreciate if you use those links to order it. I can put the pinless ones down there too. These are great for testing things like drywall in your basement to see if it's too wet, moisture content in a hardwood floor, something that you don't want to poke with the pins. These are okay for testing moisture in objects like that. But for firewood, you really need the pinned kind. Now I'm going to go ahead and unload the back of the Polaris Ranger, except for a few pieces that we're going to save for that new moisture testing that I talked to you about earlier in the video. This would be a great time, if you're not subscribed to Purple Collar Life, to consider clicking that subscribe button. Definitely give us a like click down below if you were interested in knowing about moisture content in firewood. Again, 15% is that sweet spot for me. But it's also a great time to leave a comment down below. What moisture content level do you guys find acceptable? Do you test your moisture content? I've got that general moisture meter right down by the fireplace. I test each piece before I put it in, just to make sure it's ready to go. lot of people will say that you can test moisture content just by feel or the sound of the wood clunking off of each other. There is some truth to that, but when it comes to the potential of clogging up that catalytic combustion honeycomb, I don't want to go by the sound or the feel. I want to use kind of a little bit more scientific testing method. Okay, so we got all the wood out of the back of the Ranger except for those few pieces we want to test with the new moisture testing method. And everything is stacked nicely now into this IBC tote of oak that will be burnable in probably 2024, 2025. It's actually seasoning much faster than I thought it would, probably because this particular area does get a lot of sunlight, a lot of airflow, so it's drying out faster than normally our wood that's kind of stacked in the woods. I did want to take this opportunity to say a belated Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you that follow the channel. We appreciate your support all year long, but definitely wanted to mention it. You know, this is a special time of year. There's nothing like the candlelight service on Christmas Eve to make you think about your perspective and the reasoning for life and why we're here and kind of the new year to come. And we're going to be doing a video in the future about thinking about kind of looking back at the 2023 year and looking forward at the year ahead in 2024. Now, as always, I recommend you read the instruction manual that came with your wood stove before you just take my advice on it. You can read in the instruction manual often what moisture content percentage they recommend in firewood. And if you can't find the instruction manual to your wood stove, thankfully, a lot of them are available online now. If you search for your wood stove model on Google, a lot of times you can either find a free or a purchase option for the instruction manual for your wood stove. Okay, so like I said, I saw this online. I have no idea if it actually works. And I suppose this may have been some way to test moisture content before the electronic moisture meters were available. But what they say is you can take some Dawn dish soap or any type of dish soap, rub it into the end of a piece of firewood, and the channels that used to hold the moisture in this firewood will now be open for air, and you can blow through the other end and create bubbles on the end that you put the dish soap. Now, I have never tried this before. We're going to try it today. This is a 24-inch piece of oak. So this is going to be a real test here to see if I can even push air through here. I do have the air compressor ready in the background in case I can't make it work. But we've got the oak, we've got this dry cherry, 16 inches, and we've got this wet green oak that is very heavy. We've got a couple pieces of that to test out here. So what we'll do is we'll put just a little bit of dish soap here on the end. Rub that in and around. Try to see where that is. Well, I'll be surprised. Look at that. So we know this oak piece is seasoned because we tested it with the moisture meter, but that actually does work. Huh. Let's test the cherry here. All right, I'm not getting any air with the cherry. Let's try the air compressor. Go back to this piece of oak. Okay, so that first piece of oak, I was able to blow bubbles through, which I was shocked about. That was a long piece of wood for those bubbles to come out the end. Crazy. But these short pieces of cherry, I know these are seasoned, they're lightweight, I tested them with the moisture meter, but I could not get air bubbles to blow out the end of this one. I couldn't get air bubbles to blow out the end of this one. Again, fully seasoned cherry. And then of course, this wet piece of oak, I couldn't get any bubbles to come out of the end. Now I tried this both blowing through it and with the air compressor. I found that even on the one piece of oak that I did get bubbles out blowing through it, the air compressor wouldn't do it. You probably need a wider space of air than just the small blow nozzle on my air compressor can do through the wood. So there you go. First time I've ever tried using Dawn dish soap to test the moisture content of a piece of firewood. I don't think I'd call this a reliable method. Definitely the moisture meters are much more reliable and easier to use. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative and entertaining, please give us a big thumbs up down below. Leave those comments. What moisture content do you use and what kind of stove do you use? Because if you have an outside wood boiler, maybe 25% moisture is okay. I have no idea. I've never burnt wood in an outside wood boiler. So leave those comments down below. Thank you for watching again. Happy holidays, a belated Merry Christmas, and a great happy upcoming New Year to all of you who are watching. Thanks for the support. Hopefully we'll see you again the next time. Well, I'll be surprised. Look at that.